Hi, welcome to this tutorial on accounting. In this tutorial, we'll look at reviewing your income reports, reversing a sale transaction, adding payroll entries, adding expenses, creating an APSA return, computing your ZRA turnover tax. Let's get started. Now that our sales have been captured, we can head over to the accounting section to review some reports. For instance, at a glance, you'll notice that the system prompts us that our NAPSA returns are due and our ZRA returns are also due. This will appear a few days before the deadline for both these statutory requirements. You will note that it gives us access to a whole bunch of reports related to sales functions, accommodation reports, expenses, NAPSA and ZRA functions, and the ability to reverse a sales transaction. To view sales reports, select either the sales reports option over here or choose a particular report under the list of sales functions. For instance, you have the sales summary. You can print a sales summary which summarizes the value of the sales sold per cashier, or you can view a detailed day report which shows all the entries generated for that particular day, or you can see sales per item or review non-sales transactions, which will be explained later on. To view the detailed day report, you select the detailed day report button, and then you always find that the current date has already been set there. So all you do is click generate report, and these are the sales transactions that were performed earlier in the day. So to review the invoices generated by these transactions, you click on the invoice report icon, and that will render the invoice that was generated by the transaction. One of the key sales reports that we can review is the sales summary. So for the sales summary, you select the start date, the end date, and select the option by which to group the report output. So for instance, to group it on a daily basis, you select the start date that way, the end date, and then I'll let it either group by day, week, month, or year. You generate the report, and then it summarizes the sales as they occurred. So by week, you have something like that. By month, you have an entry like that. And by year, you have an entry like that. So this navigation for reports generally holds true for all the various reports that you get in the system. So with that, for a comprehensive list of reports, please view the user manual, which will show you the navigation for all the types of reports and the full list of reports that are available to you. If a transaction was performed in error and you would like to then reverse it, the first step is locate the order number for that transaction. So to do that, you head over to the detailed day report and then run the report. So the order number that you're interested in is this order number that was generated for that particular entry. So for instance, if this transaction was a duplicate of the first one and would like to reverse it, we can select that, proceed to copy it, head over to the home page and click sales adjustments or reversals, enter the order number to be reversed, indicate a comment if necessary, duplicate of that. Then you have a checkbox that allows you to even reverse the stock that was affected with this transaction. So we can leave that checked and then proceed to reverse the order. Once that order is successfully reversed, you can then head back to try and see if it still generates on the particular reports. So in this case, that transaction is now gone. So that then means that even your income reporting will be compliant with all the reversals that you make. The system has a feature to allow you to generate and review payslips. So the payslips that will be generated in the system are based on the employees that you had set up when managing your employees. To simulate a payslip, you head over to payslips, click the simulate payslips, choose the period of interest, and then simulate. That generates a payslip report, which then shows the name of your business, the designation of the individual whose payslip is first. So this will then have things like their basic pay, their NAPSA computation, and any other deductions that you could have added. In a minute, we will see how to add manual payslip entries, which could either be income or deductions. So in this case, you have the two individuals there, and then the last page is a summary of all the entries. So this would then list all your employees, their income, deductions, and their net pay. So to add a payslip entry, you head over to Payslips, click the Add Payslip Entries button, select the employee for whom you would like to add an entry, specify the period to which this entry relates, enter the type of entry, whether it's a deduction or income. So for instance, if this person was entitled to a bonus, we could add income. So that's James Walia with an income of 500 kwacha. The narration, we could for instance call it bonus. We then proceed to click add entry, and that adds the entry. We can then do the same for Jack Tembo. In this case, we will then add a deduction if they got a salary advance of 300 kwacha, and then proceed to add the entry. So we can then head back to Payslips and simulate the payslips for July to see the effect that those two entries had. So on James Walia, his bonus is there of 500, and that's factored into the whole computation. Same applies to the salary advance that was gotten by Jack Tembo. You have the ability to keep track of expenses that are incurred by your business. So for instance, when you head over to expense reports, over here you have the ability to add expenses or review expenses based on the type, or run a summary that shows all the expenses that you've incurred. During our restocking, we kept the checkbox that allowed the entry of expenses based on the items that we were restocking. So if we run this report, we are bound to find some entries for the particular restock that we performed earlier on. To add the manual expense, we can head over to add an expense, select the expense date, the category, so it could either be an ingredient, purchase, product, or a labor cost, or another kind of cost. So we'll then pick other kind of costs, and then we would indicate, for instance, a 500 kwacha if we had to transport something and pay for it. Transportation, and then add expense. If we headed back to our expense reports, run the report, we'll then have our transportation expense. To create a NAPSA return, you head over to the NAPSA section, select the contribution period for which you would like to generate a return, and then click Generate Return. This then generates a return which, if all the requisite information was added, would then be fully NAPSA compliant. So you'd have all the requisite fields, and all you would then have to do is download the return and then proceed to upload it onto the NAPSA platform. Once this return is generated, it then becomes available in an archive, which is over here in the NAPSA Return Archive. This allows you to find all the historical returns as and when you had generated them. Another feature that is available to you is the computation of ZRA turnover tax. So when you head to ZRA turnover tax, you'll notice that it indicates a start and an end date based on the previous month, and then with that you can then compute how much your tax liability was. So since there were no transactions in this period, it shows that there is no tax liability, but we'll then choose July, which has got some transactions, and based on the value of those transactions, it would then compute how much the tax liability is. So currently it works for the turnover tax rate of 4%, but this is customizable under your settings. Under miscellaneous settings, you would then have the turnover tax rate that you're interested in. Thank you for watching our tutorial. For more information and the reference manual, please visit our website, and then you'll find all the relevant documentation there. Thank you. See you next time.